Hey guys, Jeremy Colgrove here, and welcome to part 2 of this 3-part series, how to model, rig, and animate legs in Blender. So this is where we left off in the last video, so let's just get right to it. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to have to apply the mirror modifier. So let's just do that now. Make sure your legs look great and you're happy with them. There we go. And while we set up the armature, I'm going to turn off the subsurf like that. Okay, now I'm going to go into front view, and what we're talking about armature, I'm going to, well, in this video, what I'm trying to say is, in this video, I'm going to be discussing the roll, how to get your knee to bend in the right direction, and how to basically just do it right, not screw it up. So any kind of problems you have with rigging legs should be addressed in this video. If not, then I don't really know what problem you'd be having. You just didn't do something right, I guess. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a single bone. And before I do anything, oops, wait, let me put the 3D cursor back to center. Okay, I'm going to add a single bone, and before I do anything, I'm going to go to my armature settings and turn on X-ray. So now we can see it through our mesh. Okay, so I'm going to bring it up and rotate it 180 degrees, and I can just place it somewhere. Now how the human anatomy works is you have the spine, and then you have the pelvis, and then you have the femur that goes out of the pelvis into your shin bone, into your foot. So we are going to try to replicate that to the best of our abilities with the armature to give us the most realistic look, I guess you can say. It's pretty basic, I mean, yeah. So I'm going to add another bone. I'm going to tab into edit mode and add a bone like that. And this is going to be our pelvis. Okay, now we're not going to connect the pelvis to the spine because we're only going to do the armature to one leg and then copy it to the other. And if we connect these, then it's harder when we copy it over. Okay, so pretty basic. Just set it up where you think it might look. You can look at an anatomy reference if you like or not. It doesn't matter. But that's just the important thing. And now we're going to grab this bone and parent it to the spine with an offset. Like that. Alright, now we're going to extrude our femur. The important thing, and what's really important when extruding your femur, is that you extrude it straight down. If you extrude it and you put it a little bit of a bent angle, then when you bend your knee, it's going to be deformed outwards or inwards, or whichever way you don't want it. You want it to come straight out when you bend your knee. Okay, so we're going to extrude it, and we're going to press Z for the Z axis, and bring that right down to about your knee. And then we're going to extrude another one, the shin, down to the ankle, like that. Pretty basic. Okay, now we're going to hit number pad 3 to adjust these bones. Now, it's important because some people I know have problems where their knee bends. Whoa. Sorry. There. Their knee bends this way when they put their foot up. And how you fix that is Blender figures it out. You know, they figure out, it has to figure out which way to bend the knee. So we have to help it out, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take our spine and hips and bring it more to the back of our body. We're going to keep our knee towards the front and our ankle towards the back. So we have this bowed kind of shape here. So Blender knows, oh, I must supposed to bend the knee forwards like that. Okay, that's gonna help. Okay, so now we're going to take our ankle and extrude another bone down. This is gonna be where the balls of our feet are gonna be, are gonna bend at. Alright, and then this is gonna be the end of our toes. There, so just like that, we have a basic rig set up. Yes, now let's talk about the roll of the bone. So if I turn on the axis, you can see that right now the roll of our bone is all random. For example, in this bone right here, the Z is pointing out straight. It is with that one too. But this one right here, Z is pointing, or X is pointing up, and for this one right here, Z is pointing out. And the axes are all relative to the bone rotation. This one's pointing down, this one's pointing down. So what we want to do is we want to go Control N. You don't want to recalculate all three of these. You only want to calculate two of them. Because if you try to calculate all three, it'll screw it up again. So go calculate the X and calculate the Y. Now all of them should be facing the same relative direction. So you can see the Y is going right out straight towards the bone. It's just right out into the Y. Same thing with this one. It's just the Y is facing relative to the bone. That one's going down, down. It's going where it should, and that's what we want, okay? Perfect. So now we're going to add, we're going to extrude another bone out like this. This is going to be our ankle control for now. Alright, and this is actually a, I'm going to be doing the foot rig. This foot rig, there's a tutorial on it by Sebastian Lagues. Lagues. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but Sebastian, Lague. It's on YouTube. It's really popular, but I really like the method he shows. It really ends up nice. So I know there's other ways to do a foot rig, but I like his way. So I'm going to be going through that with you guys. If you want, you can check out his character rigging tutorials as well, which are great. Go through those. Those are awesome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this bone, and we're going to go to the bone properties, and we're going to uncheck deform and remove the parent. Okay, so now if we go into pose mode, it's just a free floating bone that I can do whatever with, and it doesn't affect anything else. And we're going to name this ankle IK. Then we're going to grab our shin bone and set up some inverse kinematics. Select that right there. Perfect. Then we're going to select a target, and the target is going to be the ankle IK that we just named, we just created right there. Perfect. Our chain length now, if it's at 0, it goes all the way up and it affects every bone connected. But we don't want it to be that. Okay, you can see by the yellow line here how far it affects, this inverse kinematic affects the armature. But we just want it to affect up to the femur, because your legs work independently of your hips. You can move your leg and not move your hip. You know what I'm saying? So if we set our chain length to 1, it now just affects the shin. If we set it to 2, it now affects the shin and the femur, which is what we want. Perfect. So you can try this out. You can grab it and you can move it. You can see that it's pointing, moving straight, pointing straight out, and that's exactly what we want. And then what you do now is I'm going to add a curve circle to affect the turning of my knee. And okay, I'm just going to name this knee pull.r. Okay, so I'm going to select my shin. You can see right here we have this pull target, and under there I'm going to select the knee pull.r that I just made. And you can see we have this pull angle, which automatically adjusts the pull where it should be. So in this case, it looks like it should be about -90, so the knee is pointing at the knee pull.r that we just made here. Now you can see that this controls the rotation of our leg. Awesome. Everything is working great. Another tip for Armature is if you want to reset the pose, what you do is you go to your Armature settings, you go Reset Pose, and you press A and select everything. Control A, apply a visual transform to pose, and then you can go to your pose position and it'll stay. Okay. Now for the hard stuff. This will be easier if I go into B-bone mode here, and I change it to wired. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this ankle IK. I'm going to, in edit mode, excuse me. I'm going to copy it down to the bottom of the foot, like that. Now I'm going to parent this to this, and I'm going to keep the offset. Now you can see that this, I'm going to name this. I'm going to name this bone control, because that's going to be the main control of our foot. You can see that right there now controls our foot, which is good. Now what we want to do is we want to make the rotation of our foot stick with this, this bone control. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to parent this bone to my bone control. Okay, so in edit mode, I'm going to select this, shift right click my bone control, control P, keep offset. Now you can see our foot matches the rotation, but it comes off the shin, which is not good. So what we want to do to fix that is we want to select this bone, and in pose mode go to our bone constraints and do a copy location to our shin, which is bone 03. Armature bone 03. And then turn the head tail up to 1. We want it at the tail of the bone. And now when we move it, it sticks to the shin bone. And it's okay if our ankle IK and bone control come off like this. That's just fine. Whee, it's fun to play with. Okay, now we're going to go back into edit mode, select these two bones. We're going to go Shift D, right click. We want them to have the exact position. Okay, I'm going to go Control Alt S so we can see them. And I'm just going to scale these down. That's maybe a little big. Okay, something like that. Cool. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to these two bones and uncheck deform. I'm going to name this toes control. And this right here is going to be called midfoot control. Now I'm going to uncheck deform, and in pose mode remove the copy location. Okay? Okay, now we're going to take the toes control and parent it to the bone foot control. Control P, keep offset. Now if we go into pose mode, you're going to see that this bone, our midfoot control here, it rotates from the ankle, and we want it to rotate from the other spot down here. So we're going to go into edit mode and rotate it by 180 degrees. Now we're going to take our ankle IK and parent it to our midfoot control. Control P, and we can actually put it as connected. Now if we go into pose mode, you can see that this controls the rotation of our foot nicely. Works really nice. Okay. Now back into edit mode. Pose mode. We want to keep our toe. Yeah, no, we're fine. Okay, so now we're going to set up another IK system between the toe control and the actual bone in our toes. So with our toes selected, we're going to go to the bone constraints, add in an inverse kinematics, select my armature, and then select toes control. Perfect. Now it looks great. Not really. We need to set the chain length to 1 and turn off use tail. That should fix it. Great. Now all we have to do is copy the rotation of this toes control to this, or the toe bone here to the rotation of my toes control. That way it'll stay the same. Excuse me, I have something in my throat. I don't know what it is. It's so frustrating. Okay, so copy rotation. My target is going to be armature and toes control. And there we have it. That is our foot rig. We have complete control over it. And that's great. So with all that set up now, we can actually hide a lot of the bones we're not going to end up using, like this bone that goes in the middle of our foot, and this one here, and this one if you want. I'm going to turn off the axes, and okay. So now we just have these simple controls for our foot, which is great. So I'm going to reset the position, and now we're ready to do some parenting. Before I do that though, I need to copy these bones over to the other side. So I'm actually going to go Alt H and unhide everything while I copy it over. So Shift C to put the 3D cursor back in the middle. I'm going to select everything but my spine. I'm going to go Shift D and then scale X -1. Now I'm going to move it over to this side, like that. Perfect. And then I can go Armature, switch direction. There, and then it automatically renamed and understands that it's now the opposite direction. So that's it. We're ready to see how this looks. That's scary. What's that? What's going on? What the heck? Oh, we need to change a couple things. First of all, on this right here, it's still pulling onto the knee pull.r. We want to copy this over and select the knee pull.r1 like that. And I'm trying to think of what else might have caused this. Everything looks okay. I'm going to try it again. Take that, Shift D, this is great. This is just great. I always love it when things don't work in tutorials, you know? It's just great. I love it. Jeepers. Okay, hold on guys. I'm gonna figure out what's going on and then I'll get back to you. Okay guys, I figured it out. It's quite silly actually. Okay, so what we're going to do is take the 3D cursor here. What it was is I was going to Armature. I was saying to switch directions. We didn't want to actually switch directions. We wanted to flip the names. So yeah. So 3D cursor at the middle. We're going to change our pivot point to the 3D cursor like that. Select everything, go Shift D, and then scale X -1. And it just moved it over to the other side for us. Now what we do is we go flip names. Okay. And then, like we did before, we take the shin and we change, in pose mode, we change the See how it's pointing to this pull target. We want it to pull to this target right here. So this is going to be knee pull dot L. And then take our shin and choose knee pull dot L. Now everything works like it should. Okay. So let's jump into object mode and let's parent it. Grab our body, select our armature, and go Control P with automatic weights. Alright, let's jump into pose mode. Now let's see how we did. And for this, you can go to your armature and turn back on the subdivision surface. Turn your 3D cursor back to the active element. That would probably be a good idea. Another thing you want to do, select your object here, and in your armature tabs, click on Preserve Volume. And this is going to make sure that it's not stretching it in any weird ways, and it'll make it look better. Okay, so a couple things is right here when my knee comes up, I want it to affect more of this right here, so it's not just crevicing in like that. So all I have to do is select this bone, and this is bone 03. So now on my guy is selected, I go into weight paint, and you can see how it just kind of stops there. So I can just kind of make it affect that a little bit more. Give it a nice smooth transition. Wow. Okay, not like that. That didn't help it. I'm just gonna Control Z a bunch of times. Yes, undo it. Okay. I don't think it looks half bad though. I think this is turning out pretty good. You can see our knees bend in the right direction. There is some weight things going on that should be changed. So we can just kind of help. Help correct some of this stuff. You can see our rig is really nice, how the toe bends and stuff. It's really fun to play with. So one reason I think that's happening is because this is really bunched up in here. So I'm just going to smooth that out, and I'm going to grab this and smooth this one here out too. Okay, it's not half bad though. What's really fun to do is grab this guy here, and you can like move them all around. You can have him do some fancy jig. It's pretty fun. You can have him ski. Anyways, yeah, okay. Sorry, that was just me joking around. You get kind of carried away with the, playing with the guy sometimes. But okay, that's the end of this tutorial. In the next tutorial, we're going to animate him and make him something awesome. Yes, we're going to make an awesome superhero landing thing with it. It'll be really cool. So, thanks for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.